cool pod today because he brought some stats. I remember who was the last person that brought stats, and it was Paul Florzak.
Paul Florzak brought
He brought
stats,
some really cool stats, and so we have another.
I'll try and be as cool as him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything that's brought to the pod is a pleasure because honestly, going over the same things is fun, but anything new that shows a new dynamic makes a new person, the toilet bowl of the league. It's always fun.
Yeah.
I figured, Austin's always bringing his power rankings, and Paul brought some stats. I figured I needed to actually show up with something this time.
Yep. And I only bring myself. That's about all I do.
Yeah.
But
Steve and I just let the ship drive itself. It's awesome.
Exactly. But all right, so I think we're going to start off with questions. We got some questions for Dan.
Yes. So questions of the week for Dan.
So I'll start off with the first question. So the first question I have, or we have for you, is we're going to go right to the draft, because people talk about Dan and drafting a lot. But first question, just a simple one. I don't know if you have one off the top of your head, but, you've had a good draft the last 2 years now. But was there someone this year that you drafted and you were like, man, I had someone I almost drafted and I wish I took him, that would have changed how your team would be?
Oh, definitely St. Brown.
Oh, well, who did you take over him?
I took Chubb over him, and Chubb
I forgot you had Chubb. That's actually incredible.
Dude,
oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, my team gets slept on a little too much.
Yeah.
And then
that kind of leads into our next question here.
Yeah.
Where the series of questions, we have 4 right after this. That are all pretty much the same question, but just a little bit different. Where do you think your drafting skill lands in the group?
Now, you don't have to necessarily
Definitely
say
towards the top.
Yeah, you don't have to say the thing we're thinking is you got a 1 to 10 system, right? There's 10 players.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to necessarily, you don't got to necessarily say who you're better than, but in that 1 to 10, 1 being best, 10 being worst, where do you think you are?
All right, I think Josh and Luke always have fantastic drafts.
Okay.
I'd say I'm right behind both of them.
So you'd put yourself 3.
I would.
Okay. Paul, where would you put Dan?
I think I would put Dan. Well, it's a hard question. So are we talking about Dan before he became smart and picked anybody other than Lions players? Or are we talking about just Dan over the 10, 12 years he's played? So over the last 10, 12 years he's played, I'd probably place him probably 6 or 7. But in the last couple of years, when that he's slowed down on Lions players, I would think 2. He's been up there because of his drafting ability.
I would put him. I'm struggling between 4 and 5, and the reason, I'm taking the whole league, but obviously recency bias is a thing. If you've been doing better lately, it's gonna move you up.
Yeah.
So I would say 4, just because of the last 2 years, and knowing that you had Chubb and he went out, and you have still Eckler, Walker. I don't know where you got those players from. But I'd put you 4, and it was only 4, almost 5. It'll be almost 5-4, but because of some of the previous years. But the last 2 years, you've been on your game.
I appreciate that. I'm curious, where do you guys think you guys are?
I don't know. I didn't think about that. I don't want to think about it.
I didn't think about that
either. I'm not
either.
here to talk about that. Well, I mean, if I had to put myself, honestly, I would probably put myself probably 6. I feel like I usually have a good team after the draft, but I never have any boom. I never have years where I go 9 wins, right? So that has to be a flaw with my drafting. So I put myself 6, almost 7, but I feel like every time after the draft I feel great, but it just never turns out the way I want it to. So I'd say 7.
I would put myself probably at 11 because the AI will probably draft better than I would.
Yeah, Paul, you might be a great fantasy player if you just did auto draft and then
honestly
getting waivers after week 1.
Yeah. Kind of leads you brought up waivers. Our next question: where do you think your waiver wire skill is in the group?
Oh, I'm pretty. I grab players when I know they're good, and then I stash a couple. I wouldn't say I'm anything special on waivers.
What's the number?
I'd say 6 or 7.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I mean, waiver is such a hard thing to do. I feel like it's a lot of time.
It's if you lose early in the season, and so that's why Paul is always good at it.
Yeah.
And I was going to lead into that is another kind of quick mini question is, do you think you can be good at the waiver wire and drafting? Because if you're good at drafting, you're probably never going to get anybody good on the waiver wire, regardless.
I mean, I don't think that's 100% true because, like, you have people. I feel like a big thing in waiver. I think like the biggest quality in waiver wire isn't just picking up the player that's available. It's picking up a player that no one thought was going to be good that turned good. Example: A-Chain. Austin drafted well. Austin has a good record. Or
it could also be filtering through those good players. Like this week, there wasn't anybody great, but there was a bunch of these guys could do okay. Like Darrell Henderson, DeMarcado. There was a wide receiver, Joshua Downs. There were just a couple of guys that were like, who do you take? Pull that trigger because you can't pick them all.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough, but
yeah.
But Dan, here's a question. I'm really curious how you rank yourself because I really don't know how many you've done over the years. But what do you rank yourself as a trader? Like, how good of a trader?
Ooh, yeah, I mean, this year is definitely the most trades I've ever done. I would say the one year that I won back in 2013, I also made a huge trade where I traded away Julio Jones for it was like 3 for 1. And that was the year Julio actually got injured. And I think that definitely helped me win that season. But yeah, usually I max make like one trade a year and probably less than that on average. But I'd say this year I'm doing pretty great. I like my trade against you, Steve. I think, you sort of benefited from it, but I honestly, like, Monty's getting injured and Adams, I don't think is going to be a top 10 wide receiver just because of his team.
Yeah, and I mean, you obviously won that trade. I was making a move because I needed a good receiver, and I've lost the last few weeks. And when did he had the 42-point league? I think I've had him for 3 weeks. Devontae for 3 weeks, right? He has scored me 8.5, 4.9, 12.7. If he has
that's
bigger
pretty
weeks,
rough.
I literally could be a completely different team if he has 20-point Devontae weeks. I actually think I win two or three of those games.
Also, I think I totally raped Josh this year. So I had Anthony Richardson on my bench. Early on, it was like week 3. I traded him to Josh for Raheem Mostert. And then I started Mostert, and he got like the 50-point week. And then I started him like 2 more weeks, and he got, like in the 20s. And then I traded him back for Puka. And Puka is still a 20-point a week wide receiver. And so now I have wide receivers back. So
better than Cup.
I've done great.
Yeah. And I seriously think Mostert is a fraud because I think the Dolphins' running game is fraudulent. I think
this past week when they faced Philadelphia, he only got like 10 points. And
and they face New England this week, and I bet you he's not going to score many points. Like, I think he's a touchdown or bust.
And especially when A-Chain comes back, it's going to be rough.
Exactly.
And that was the whole point of that trade. It was like, he could be good for like another 3-4 weeks. But at this point, I'm confident enough in my team that I'm going to play for the end game, and I need a wide receiver that's going to score me 20 points rather than a running back.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if I had to look at the trade, there's been so many trades this year. If you look at the trades, Dan is A+ this year because he's flipped players. Everything's worked out. The players he got rid of at good times. Yeah. But
so where would you put him? Probably top 5, definitely, right?
No, I mean, I would put him as trading. I'd probably put him at 5 only because this year's been good. I don't think he really trades that much, and I assume if you went over your trades the last 5 years, I mean, I don't know. You think they've been good? Like, you've benefited from them, or you've had some that've kind of cut you?
Well, last year was bad when I gave Amari Cooper for Kareem Hunt to Vinny. That was a rough one, but I still won. So I got players to give away, and I can still win.
Yeah.
All right. Then our last question: where does your skill of picking the right starters each week? So basically, the anti-Mark skill.
I like that stat. Well, let's see. Honestly, that is year dependent because usually I don't have a bunch of starters that usually there's a clear cut group of people that to start, and then I just have my bench players. But this year's actually a bit different.
Usually.
This year's different. I actually have to determine who I want to start. But I'd say I'm still pretty good at picking the right one, except for the past couple weeks when I thought Jamo would do good.
Well, we can all
That
understand.
was just,
Yeah.
that was just because I love the boy.
We could just take a vote and decide to just wipe last week just away. I'd be okay with that.
Me too. Freaking negative 1.8, dude. It was the biggest week for me to win going into Paul this week. And Watson actually gives me negative 0.18 points. And I just can't even believe
that's
it.
rough.
Yeah. Rough.
He is on the waivers now.
Well, this will kind of transition us to the next part we're going to do, where we actually made some, in our idea, and were some power rankings, Dan, Steve, and I. We all don't agree on all the rankings, but this is the closest thing that we could get to. I think I was pretty shocked to see number 10. Number 10, we've all kind of talked about it, and Steve at 2 and 5. Steve, how do you feel about that?
I think it's fair. I think, I mean, my stud receiver, Devontae, isn't getting me points. Monty made a big trade for him. He's injured. Henry is going to play this week, and he has been a guy that'll get you 2 points or maybe 20. But like a lot of times, he might not get you anything. So I'm one of the most inconsistent teams. Kittle, there's too much inconsistency. And I think, I'm 2 and 5. I have to go on. I think I got to win like 3 games straight before I even jump up the rankings. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's been rough out there. Then, kind of shockingly, we'll move to number 9. We have a 3 and 4 team. Dan, what are your thoughts on us putting him at number 9? Paul Florzak.
I mean, I think it's deserved. I mean, when you look at his running backs, none of them are inside the top 20.
Yeah.
And that just, he can't win like that. And the injury to JJ just, that was his team, right? The wide receiver duo, and it's just gone.
Yeah.
So
JJ's gone. Debo's out this week. He's got Keenan coming back. So hopefully Keenan can be old Keenan. But yeah, he's got Joe, like, huge week to win.
He's starting Kareem Hunt, man.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that's going to be his highest scoring running back, I bet.
Yeah.
His other 2 is playing against San Fran and Buffalo. So.
The crazy thing is, man, before JJ got injured, like right after I made that trade with you, Steve, I offered Mostert and Breece Hall for Keenan Allen. And I think that would have helped Paul's team so much.
I mean,
having 2 starting running backs.
At that time, that was a terrible trade. There's no way.
True. Very true.
I went for the house for Justin. What I offered him, I think I wanted a replace. I think Mixon. I think it was like Justin Jefferson, Mixon. I would give him like Eckler, Metcalf, Walker, some like ridiculous shit that would have probably been pretty good for him. But yeah, he's on a 4-game skid, and his team keeps looking worse every week. It's pretty rough.
Yeah.
I hate to see it. I really do.
Then we have the next, number 8. I'll start out with this one here. You guys all thought I was 8. I don't agree with this. This is one of the ones I disagree with. But you know what? We take what we take, and we get what we get. We're going to make a turnaround. We have basically a bye week this week, so that'll be nice to get back to 500. And hopefully, as we rise in wins, our ranking will get higher. I think I still have a lot of upside as long as my team is feeling good every week. If we're going into each game just not feeling okay, we might get 1.3 points again. We'll see. Reference to Bijan there, because he just didn't feel good.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Paul is he has a bunch of just a bunch of knuckle brains. I mean, he's got Bijan with the headaches, just doesn't want to play. Speaking of headaches, Tua's one headache from not playing in the NFL, and Olave is still in jail probably.
First off, Olave is not in jail. He may have spent some time in a cell. We don't know that for sure. He was arrested, but he and Carr got on a good page. He's going to have a big week this week. Bijan, I don't blame him at all. I only blame Arthur Smith. Report the news. If he would have reported the news, I probably would have made it much more respectable last week.
Why do you think he didn't report it? I feel like this is so obvious to me. A player comes up to you in the NFL, right? He's getting paid millions of dollars, and he's like, I just got a headache. I'm just off today. I don't know if I can go. The coach is probably like, okay, man, whatever you have to do. And it's probably like, it's fucking bitch. Like, you play in the NFL. He probably didn't report it because he's like, what the hell's happening? Like, How does he not play? This is the NFL, baby. Unless you can't play or you have like a fever, like a headache. What is that?
Well, it is really good that my team has a good bye week this week, so we're looking forward to that.
All right, we'll see about
Is
that.
Is it crazy that your two best players may be Adam Thielen and Zay Flowers?
Moving on, we have Vinny at number 7. Surprisingly, he's above me with a 2-5 record. Again, I didn't necessarily agree with this. But sell me on it, guys. Why do we have Vinny at 7, and what's his outlook?
Well, I mean, I've never heard of Christian McCaffrey getting a headache, so that's
He just gets knee aches and rib aches and just whole body aches.
I mean, he's got Lawrence, who is trending up. McCaffrey's a dog, one of the best players.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Gibbs with this Monty shit. I mean, Gibbs going up 6 points, and he scored 26.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And like Garrett Wilson, he just has a bunch of players that are in the tank that are kind of coming back. You know, Christian Kirk now he's starting. Like these are T. Higgins. Maybe he gets like all these players were terrible to start the year, and maybe they're not fantasy players. He's kind of trending up.
Yeah, I like the skill on Vinny's team better than yours, Paul, and that's kind of why I think he deserves to be above you.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll move on to number 6. I think it's the highest that we've seen him all year. Mark at 2-5. Still a really bad record, but we have him above a couple people. Again, sell me on his upside. Because he keeps saying that he has upside. Everybody said I just don't see it, dude. He has running back issues.
And when we did this really quick, Dan said he has firepower. So I want Dan to sell me because I think he has terrible. He has no running backs. He's starting Najee Harris. Jalen Warren's a better start. Sell me, Dan. Sell us.
All he needs is Josh Allen to get him 30 points, Travis Kelce to get him 30 points, Amon St. Brown to get him 30 points, and then the rest of the guys just need to get him like 5 or 10, and he's got. So it's those 3, and then you put in. I don't think Jason or Jerome Ford is playing this week, but he's on the Cleveland. He's gonna get 10 to 15 points, so that's a solid guy. And then you've got some skill on the bench with Godwin. I don't know how well he's actually been doing this year, but I just think also apparently Brian Robinson Jr. is like the number 12 running back, so that's surprising.
No, he's been.
I don't love Najee Harris, but I think he's got enough decent players to go along with those 3 studs that I think he's better than the teams we've mentioned so far, and I think he'll end up with a better record.
I haven't looked at Brian Robinson's stats. I know he's had some big games, but they usually come with like double, triple touchdown games. Like the Commanders suck. You know, they're gonna stink this whole year. I feel like I don't know. I feel like he's only gonna end up having like 4 wins. I don't know.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that because
I disagree.
Where he has 3 dogs as main key piece players, he's also had his own decision making on Sunday or Thursday, whatever you want to call it.
He's never going to not start those 3 players, and then I don't care who else he plays. The other people will get 5.
I just don't see that perfect storm happening consistently to have 3 players get 30 points.
I mean, he just had 2 weeks where he was the top scorer in the league. I'm all in on Mark.
Yeah, points.
All right.
I actually think is a little bit too much bought into stat.
Points for?
Yeah, because you can have big weeks.
How do you win?
It doesn't. You can have a 170-point week. It doesn't mean your team's necessarily good. Like the matchup worked. Maybe there's some blown coverages, right? Like if you actually think of NFL terms and how games go, like there's shitters that have big weeks all the time, and then they just go back in the tank. Like it was just a defensive not dealing with the coverage well.
I don't think Mark is going to be able to overcome his record and get to the playoffs, but I think he'll end up either 6 or 5 at the end of this year.
All right, so
you can keep that receipt.
Okay, well, hey, you want to make a receipt? 4.5 over under $10. $10. I'll take the under on 4.
$10. I'll take that.
Okay. Handshake.
All right, let's see it.
I've won a lot of money off making bets on fantasy off Mark, so we'll see if I can make one about Mark. That'd be coming. And
all right, so our next one is Johnny and Alex at number 5. Honestly, this team has endured a lot of scrutiny, a lot of hate from the beginning, from pre-draft all the way to probably even week 2, and they've taken it in stride. And honestly, I quite agree with the number 5 here because they have a lot of good boom players. I don't like Aaron Jones. That's the only weakness I see on this team right now. Is Aaron Jones is a little, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, he was the most clear-cut number 5 out of everybody else. I think 6 through 10 is a shit show. Any player could be ranked anywhere, and it could make sense. I think he's the clear 5 because the Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, clearly better than any of that besides Mark, but then still has good running backs, still has boom receivers, DJ Moore, Waddle, Evans. Those guys can all boom. So he's got the tight end and QB position. Running backs, not great, not bad. Not bad. I mean, they can definitely get you big points. So I think this was the most clear-cut number 5 to me.
Yeah, I mean, the way Lamar Jackson's playing too, like he's just balling out. And honestly, I kind of love the duo of Aaron Jones and DeAndre Swift. I think Swift is a easy top 5 running back by the end of the year. I think he's number 6 right now. And then, yeah, I mean, you got Waddle, you got Evans, you got DJ Moore. Like, I don't really see any holes on this team besides maybe depth. But honestly, looking at this, I'd have to compare to Josh's team, but I might bump Alex over Josh. Well, Alex / Johnny.
I could see that. Now, before we go next in the power rankings here, there's going to be some controversy because your record doesn't matter if your team isn't really what the record says. So the next one, 4, 5 and 2, Josh. Paul, why do you think? Dan, why do you think Josh is? You just talked about how you want to almost flip those 4 and 5.
Yeah, honestly, well, because I was just looking at Al's roster and I like it, and now I'm switching over to look at Josh's. And honestly, wide receiver 2 and flex not great, and I don't think he has a ton of depth. Like he's got James Cook. Well, I guess he's number 15 running back, and then Jacoby Myers, which Jacoby Myers has been doing well, but I don't think they're going to keep that up. Yeah, and I don't really like Raheem Mostert as his second RB, so I just don't see a lot of depth. I see a lot of these players having good games or bad games, and I think in the end that's going to catch up with him. I think he just misses out on the playoffs. So I'm going to reverse and say I think Al should be above Josh.
Paul, I know you have something to say about the receivers, the running backs.
I like Josh's running backs. I know it's a little testy for Mostert, but all that he really needs right now is to just have someone to tide him over. Because let me pull up his running backs here. I don't like Mostert, but he had a couple other really good guys on his team that I think kind of hide that. So let me pull that up right here. For some reason I can't find it. Oh, there he is. He changed his name. That would be why.
Yeah,
all right.
So in my opinion, with his running backs, I am out. I do not believe in Mostert. I think when they play good teams, he's not going to score good, and the chain's going to come back. And then Pollard, I don't know. I've never been really big on Pollard. I just don't think he's going to. He's projected 19 points. I don't think he hits that. I think he's going to be one of the underwhelming players. And then Dan went over his flex and all that. Like. He's got some decent players. I'm just saying, out of the good teams, I think he's like Johnny's team's obviously better than all the bad teams. I feel like Josh's is obviously worse than the 3 good teams.
Yeah. No, I'm actually going to backtrack my last couple statements. You're right. We were talking beforehand, and this was the team I did not like the running backs. Mostert had a shelf life. Pollard, I hate his schedule coming up. So yes, you're right. I do hate his running backs.
And he's starting Dak, which I don't know. Dak. It's crazy. I remember saying, wow, Dak's going in the 8th, 9th rounds of drafts. Like, he's a good QB. And then he's come out this year, and he's done nothing. I was like, wow. I was so blown away by it.
I had Dak. I drafted Dak and promptly dropped him after week 2.
Yeah.
So then that will leave us to number 3.
Who would be
the power rank man himself?
The power rankster. So Austin has... I think, obviously, putting Austin here, that means we have Dan above Austin, and I know Dan is 4 and 3. So it's when you look at Austin's team, he has a good team. It's clearly better than Josh's.
Yes.
is a hole at the flex, and I know a chain will fill that hole.
Hmm.
I don't know if he'll keep doing a chain level stuff, but his tight end is I don't believe in Waller. I don't believe in the
Wait,
guy.
I don't see a hole in his flex at all. He's got your son.
My son ain't it, man. My son ain't it.
Wow, you heard it here. He's disowning his son.
Now, I don't know about Ayuk. Maybe Ayuk can fill that flex role. So, like, he has potential. He really has a good team. I love ETN. I don't know about Barkley. I just think that team's so dog. But he has some really good players. I think he's got. I think like the top three are pretty separated from the rest. When I look, like it's
Yeah.
pretty clear. Even though Josh is 5-2, but and somehow it figures out the way to get wins. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I agree.
I mean, go ahead, Paul.
Oh, you're totally good. I totally agree with you, Steve. Roster wise, he's way better than everybody else in the league that we've talked about so far. You say he had a little bit of a hole at flex. I actually really like Ayuk this week, especially with Andrew Dalton at the quarterback. I think he'll get good targets. He's good, but with the last two teams that we're going to look at, I think are better.
I think when I look at his team, it's kind of like Ramondre Ayuk, even Michael Thomas could have big
Mhm.
weeks, but I can easily see those players getting below 5 points. Like easily see it
Easy.
week to week. So like it's just not clear cut, and I don't think he trusts his tight end. I think he hates his tight end too.
Yeah, honestly. So let me be clear. I was not here for the first couple minutes when you guys put me at 2. So that is not all me just saying I'm better than Austin. I do think me and Austin could flip flop, but I mean, I do believe my team. I think I have a more solid team than Austin.
Well, when it was the first thing me and Paul saw, it was like obviously Luke's one,
Mhm.
and then we looked.
Yep.
It was like
Yeah.
it was the most obvious thing. It was like, dude, Dan's team's too. Like
Yeah.
we can get right into it here. Like
Well, I'll even share some insider information. Dan and I, really, it's just been me begging Dan to give me one of his players for basically for free, and there's nobody I can really give Dan to even make his bench any better, which is very sad. So unless he wants to change his worldview and become a communist, which I think he should, just spread the wealth of his team to everybody. Really, Dan is a borderline even number one. Luke is far and away probably the best roster if everybody's healthy for him. But you look at Dan's team; he has 4 startable RB1s on his team. He has solid wide receivers. His tight end situation is completely fine for having. What round did you draft Laporta in, Dan?
Ooh, I want to say 7 or 8.
That's pretty late for a top tier tight end. Like,
Yeah.
you just have a solid ass team.
yeah,
And JT's finally coming back, and
Mhm.
I got him obviously in like the 5th, 6th round, and then getting Puka from that trade, man. He's the number 4 wide receiver, and Michael Pittman's been freaking balling out. I mean, yeah, I'm in love with my team. So
it was clear to me, but I actually think you and Austin might be actually a little bit closer now. I'm looking at your lineup because you have some good. You have the best, obviously, the best running backs in the league. But your receivers are good. But I don't know how guaranteed it is because like Puka's good. Puka will get you a good floor of 10 points, 15 points. But like you could obviously see Kupp getting 180 yards and Puka getting like 40. Like that could obviously happen. And
Yep.
with Pittman, if it's Anthony Richardson or it's Minshew, I just don't trust them. I don't think they're very good quarterbacks. Like
yeah,
so
but I mean,
Pittman's a dog.
you don't. Yeah, that's the thing. Like he still is just consistently over 10 points. He's got 1 game with less than 10 points, and
But this week he plays Marshawn Lattimore, New Orleans.
Mhm.
Lattimore is a dog. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, I could easily. I'm debating in between Terry and Pittman at this point
yeah.
because McLaurin is facing Philadelphia, which I think Washington just plays Philadelphia really hard, and they're kind of always in that game.
Yeah.
I would
So
also keep an eye on what's going on with Olave if he's going to play, because if he somehow like there's some things where he doesn't get many snaps, I'm telling you, Rashid Shaheed could be the
dude,
man.
that guy I've been stashing on my bench for a while. He's technically a top 20 wide receiver, which is insane.
Yeah.
but I've never had a reason to put him over my starters. So it's an interesting situation.
And then I mean,
Uh,
you got to start Jameson Williams. Pretty sure.
Dude, honestly, I might maybe I'll throw him over Pittman this week just because I think we go and just, Monday Night Football in Ford Field. I think we dial up some big plays to JMO.
Yeah.
I hope we start doing it. At least get in the game and start getting snaps. I don't understand. Like, he should be playing more. I don't know why he isn't. Maybe he just need more time for the playbook because he couldn't even enter the building until week 5, starting in week 5 or whatever. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then
number 1, Luke's time and glory.
What I will say about Luke is looking at Luke's roster, like, I have a bad record. This year sucks,
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those years where it's like, well, I don't mind being 2-5 this year because Luke's winning it all. Like, I have no doubt about it. Luke's winning it all. Like,
disagree.
Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown. I mean, people are like, well, he doesn't have a good second running back. Who cares? Dude, that is the best. Like, that is nuts. Like, Tyreek, obviously, I mean, Jamar Chase had terrible start to the year. And he's number 8. And obviously did some dogs. I just think those receivers are going to win the league, barring no injury.
I think he's a very good team. I think the records speak for itself. His players speak for themselves. But there's still time for Luke to pull a Luke and make a bad trade. There's still time for Tyreek Hill to be caught going way too fast or something like that. There's time for just craziness to happen, and I will not say that he will win it all because, 1, I don't think he will. 2, there's just so much time left. Games need to be played. So he's a very good team right now, far and away the best right now. I agree with that.
Who is going to win it all, Paul?
We all think ourselves are going to win. So, yeah, I can come back and win. But if I couldn't pick myself, I would say either you. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with you. Yeah, every other team really has a lot of flaws. You can have a lot of crap to happen to your team and still be okay with the depth that you have. So
yeah, I really think. I mean, yeah, I agree. Luke deserves number 1 right now, but I think down the stretch, I think I'll end up in the finals with Luke, and I think all he needs is just one bad game from those wide receivers, which is very possible, and then I can eke out another champ.
Mm-hmm.
We put this together obviously last second, and I don't know. I'm kind of starting to feel like this is a Austin Luke year. Like Luke's playing Austin. And
okay.
I just Austin having Saquon Etienne, but also having Diggs and CeeDee Lamb, and the Cowboys will come back. They'll win games.
Mm-hmm.
They'll throw for yards. I don't know. I think you're going to be in the playoffs, probably, Dan. I hope you're not, because then maybe sneak in there. But yeah, I don't know. I think if I had to predict right now, I put Austin Luke. Luke wins it all.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't necessarily agree with it, but
yeah, I disagree with the whole Cowboys thing. I do not think CeeDee Lamb's going to be amazing. He'll probably be top 15 for sure, but I don't think he's going to be that top 5 wide receiver that you think.
Yeah. Alrighty.
But all right, we'll move on to the next section.
Yeah, so we'll talk about our Week 7 in review. So we'll kind of jet through these real quick because we kind of talked about it through that power ranking. We'll start with my game here. It was very ugly. As you can see, Bijan got nothing. Josh Jacobs did nothing. The Packers decided to play one of the worst offenses and decided to make them look okay. It was just a bad week for Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I threw it out in the group chat that we were all very, very upset when the Al Johnny team looked like they weren't playing. I think they had like one guy that didn't even play or they didn't start somebody, and they got like 67 points. And here's Paul trying his hardest, and you get less.
Well, to be fair, I also had a guy who just didn't decide to play on Sunday, so
Well, hey,
there's
let's
that.
take a fun look at your bench. Could you have been saved by your bench? Let's go take a look. Oh,
A lot of these people are not on my team anymore, actually.
I'm sorry, Paul. You just
It's been a
your
rough
team
year.
lacks
Been a
talent.
rough year.
it's okay.
Well,
I mean,
we
to
got
be
Hart.
fair,
We got
nobody
Hart.
saw Josh Jacobs being as bad as he is right now. But I
No.
think didn't he get like 30 something points recently?
Yeah, he's had decent weeks. Got 11, 19, 27. He just ran against that great defense in Chicago. Who would have thought that Chicago would have good defense?
27,
Yeah.
19, 11, 7. I'm pretty sure that's trending down.
Moving on to Steve's team here. He didn't have a great week, but you put up points. You put up a lot of points.
Alvin
Tell us about
Kamara starts off Thursday night, 29 points. I'm feeling great. Foreman
Yeah.
goes off, 30 points. And I just somehow I can't win. I can't win. Amari Cooper, dude, the backup quarterback for the Browns, the freaking they have PJ Walker and this other guy. They both cannot throw the ball. If I watched it on Red Zone, it's like it's embarrassing. Amari Cooper is actually he's still good. He's like open. He's running good.
Yeah.
He cannot throw the ball. It's actually so hard to watch Cleveland. Cleveland scored 38 points last week, and I'm pretty sure the QB had 100 yards throwing, no touchdowns. Like didn't do anything, and they score 100. That defense is so good, and if they just had a freaking quarterback that could throw the ball, like Amari Cooper's put me in the dumps a lot. This is just a really frustrating loss because 2-5 feels impossible to come back from, but 3-4 there's hope. And like I felt like this is my game to win, and then like I lose 35 points at the quarterback position, and it was like heartbreaking because not only do the Lions get crushed, I watched Lamar just ravage my team.
I do have to say, you did win the matchup inside the matchup. You played the right tight end this week.
I did.
You did.
I mean, Steve still has a decent amount of skill. Like, I really wanted to rank him higher than the Pauls, but I had pushback from the Paul.
Scroll up.
Yeah.
Oh, that is rough, dude. If I start the Ravens D, I win. How could I start the Ravens D, though?
You can't. You can't.
I couldn't have done
You would never, yeah. And I guess looking at Alex's team here, Lamar decided to have a very nice big day. Other than that, Mark Andrews, same thing as with Lamar, had a big day. Everybody else is pretty average. Honestly, just solid performances. I think the one I was shocked by was DJ Moore with the backup quarterback, Badgley or whatever his name was. I was shocked that he even put up points with that, but
Badgley guy looked good.
He did. He looked really good.
He did, yeah. I'm impressed to see that Chicago might actually have a franchise quarterback.
Overreaction. Is he better than Fields?
That middle of his roster, though, looks pretty good. I mean, you got Mike Evans, Mark Andrews, DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid.
Heck, man,
solid
I might put Al up even higher. Like, I really think he should be maybe even 3. Maybe
I think that's a little crazy. I think that's a little crazy.
Because I think his bench is terrible. I think his bench.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Yeah, that's bad.
Sutton had a good day, but how often is Sutton going to have a good day?
I'd be really curious to see how this Ja'Marr Chase trade pays off. If it can actually pay off and it ends up like he ends up doing well, that's impressive to me. Because that trade is a tough trade to make.
Luke,
and
just
the
kind
winner of the league, Luke,
dominated this matchup.
Let's see here. AJ Brown, Tyreek score over 50, almost 60 points, and there's no Chase.
Yeah, well.
Dude, and he has Patty Mahomes. Jeez.
Yep. 33 points from Patty.
Yeah.
His flex, though. Well, I guess he's going to put Ja'Marr Chase in his flex because why would you play Christian Watson? That's just dumb.
He's got Ridley, and if Ridley turns it on, because I think Jacksonville is trending up, and I think they're going to turn it on. If Ridley turns it on, he could trade it for a running back, and then the whole league is not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just public service announcement: don't trade with Luke right now unless you're getting one of his wide receivers.
I was
That's
seriously
very
telling
fair.
Luke to trade AJ Brown for Justin Jefferson. I think it'd be hilarious.
Uh,
Tyreek, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson.
Dude, I can see Paul Florzak just being like, I need to win games while JJ's injured.
I actually
Well,
think it's a good trade though. I think AJ Brown's going off so much right now that like
Yeah,
I agree with that.
What rank is he?
I don't even know. Click on him, Paul. 4 maybe. 3.
3.
Jeez.
3.
Look at that.
So he's basically got the 1, 2, and 3 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really does.
Do you think JJ is going to come back this year?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's supposed to, right?
I thought he's been back in a few weeks.
They said they're going to take their time with him. It's anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. And at that point, are they even going to be in playoff contention? So,
well, if Kirk Cousins can pull some more miracles out of his ass and like win 2 more games, I'm sure he'll come back. I think it's like,
okay.
Season's toast.
Yeah.
I will say something about Vinny though. Vinny put up 123, which I think beats majority of the league. I think it beats 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go up more, a little bit here. Okay, he beats 6 people in the league, so that was unfortunate.
Yeah, very.
He put up good points.
I like Vinny's bench. I like Garrett. I still like T. Higgins, even though he's very, very low, 69th. I think he'll have some upside. He had one good week and then a couple other ones.
Okay.
I think he's a good sleeper. I think he's a good sleeper. So.
I think he's been sleeping a lot lately.
So then there was this game here. Austin versus Paul. Austin won fairly handily. I was shocked that Paul put up 100 points. I didn't think he would with this starting lineup.
Yeah, and Keenan Allen only gets him 9.5. You know, Kareem Hunt getting 15 though. That's actually huge.
Yeah.
Second in a row.
The former Rashad White owner brings a smile to me when I see him get 15.9 after the last couple of weeks of. I don't think he even hit double digits. So that was cool for him.
Kind of funny. Yeah, like Kareem Hunt, Rashad White, and AJ Dillon. They all had double digits. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, somehow the wide receivers let him down.
Yeah. Crazy.
Receiver community college. Yeah. ETN actually just ETN might be a top 5 running back in the league now. Like,
would you have guessed that Diggs was gonna be number 2?
Yeah, and dude, he goes off every week. He's actually just a baller.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Crazy.
Every week. Look at that. That's insanity. He actually every week he just puts up points.
He has one big boom week, but everything else, dude, just consistent. You'll love to see it.
Yeah. I mean, dude, 20. Yeah, I mean, he's got some big weeks. But, yeah, this is pretty cut and dry.
And then, Dan, how about you tell us about this game here?
Yeah, well, we just told the boys to take the week off, let Mark have his best week of the season, There's nothing you can do when you face the person who scores the most, and, left some points on the bench because I took a flyer with JMO, and, I don't really feel too bad about it. What's that?
The bench wouldn't have saved you here, though, but...
yeah, no.
But what I want to look at is, are you worried at all? Because Eckler gets 5.6, and the backup Kelly gets 14 points. What is happening? Why? How does that happen?
Not worried at all.
I think Eckler is washed. I think it's over.
He's old.
I don't think so at all. I think
he's like 27. That's like retirement age.
Yeah, he's done.
So first of all, even if I put Eckler on my bench, I just have JT, Kenneth Walker, and Breece Hall. That's fine with me. Like, Eckler is just the icing on the cake right now. Like,
so then what
really
I'm
have
hearing,
players to play.
Here's the thing, Dan, no one likes icing.
No.
Who likes icing on the cake? Nobody.
Okay, that's some people's opinion.
No, you're fine.
Some people may say icing's the best part.
But Dan, you have a really good team, right?
Yeah.
And you scored 90 points. So points 4 is telling you you're not that good, right? Or are you good?
No, like I said, we just had the boys take a week off.
Points 4 are the most overrated stat, I'm telling you.
I'd agree with that.
Because look
100%.
at Vinny. Vinny scored 160. Watch him play 80 this week, and he's and then it's gonna be like I have good points for. It's like, well, yeah, because he had 1 week where, let's see here. Oh, this is Mark. Gosh damn it.
Yeah.
You got me. That's hilarious. Gosh damn it. But
Yeah, I don't know
watch
what
him
you're
lay
trying
an
to
egg
say.
next week. Watch him lay an egg next week. Like who knows?
Oh, I'm not saying. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely teams that are up and down and very volatile, but points for still very much matters because I
Yeah.
think over the course of the season, it does give a good idea of whether your team performed well or not.
It matters.
It evens out.
Yeah, it matters.
So
Okay.
what would you say matter? Like, are you saying just wins matter? Because like I
No.
will say, I do kind of agree. Like in the grand scheme of all, like I love looking at who has what stats and debating who sucks. But in the end, I really think it is just can you win the championship because that's what we're here for and that's what all anybody cares about.
What I'm saying is a lot of people take these bulk numbers, and I'm sure I could take a few of them. I mean, maybe that's what I'll do for the next pod. I'll go deep into who has good points for and look at the spread, because I think it's better to have 125 each week than to have 90-point weeks and 150-point weeks and swapping. I think the 125 is better. I think you're a better position. Like,
So that's what I argued for many years when you guys were all saying that my team was not good. And I was like, no, man, I'm just consistent. I score like 120 every week. I don't have these 180-point games, but I score 120 and I beat all the people who score 110.
there's more notes. How many notes do you have, Dan? God, what everybody's saying. But
Speaking
I
of
keep
notes,
all my receipts.
speaking of notes, let's go to this next section called Data with Dan. Dan, I'll let you take the screen,
Right.
and I'll kind of lead us through what you have.
you know what? Should we? Because we have about 5 minutes here.
I like it.
Before
Yeah.
Dan's segment, let's switch over to the next.
Yeah, I will see you in a second.
All right, Dan.
All right,
hop
sounds
over
good.
the- This thing's all-
Is it currently paused?
Huh?
Is it currently paused?
Yeah, she can still hear you.
Okay, I was gonna go to I'm going to the gym, but one thing I want to say right before you turn back on
Okay.
is I think we should actually attack the appliance stuff right now. This could be an opportunity.
Yeah, but okay.
We'll talk.
Show me the right ones. Yeah, we'll talk.
All right, you're back, Steve.
All right, Data with Dan without Dan.
Yes, but you prepared for this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, looking at the data right here,
Mhm.
I would say Mark's Frank's the worst team. He got exposed, and I'm actually
Yep.
5. If you look at the data, I'm 5.
Yeah.
What do you take from
I
that?
mean, you can't argue because it's Data with Dan. So.
All right. Sorry, guys. I got lost.
Oh, you're all good.
All right. Let me share. So, Steve, funny that you should mention the whole points for versus wins versus. I don't necessarily have averages, but that is something that I can work on because essentially over the past couple weeks now, I've been working on getting some. Okay, can you guys see my
Yep, it's
screen?
coming up.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I've been working on putting together a little database for our league. I actually shout out to Austin. He sent me some code that I modified to get all the league data. Kind of turned me on the right direction to work with the ESPN API. So I got the code finally to work, and that was probably the hardest part. And then yeah, I essentially put a bunch of tables into some Excel spreadsheets, and then I don't know if you guys are familiar with Power BI, but then put it all into my Power BI worksheet, and now I can basically. So one big caveat is only the last 5 years to 2018 are available. Any data before that is just gone from ESPN, except for like our overall records. But I didn't grab those because that would have been too much manual work. But Yeah, so basically I have all of our league data now. I have draft data, I have the actual box score data from all the players and all the teams, and then obviously like our actual matchup data. So I can now, with Power BI, make visuals very, very easily that kind of outline our whole stuff. So first up, we actually have, over the last 5 years, this is just regular season, we're looking at the wins versus the losses. So light blue is wins, and down here, can you guys tell the names, or do I need to zoom in a bit?
We can see it.
Okay. So yeah, we have me with the most wins over the last 5 years with 45. And then we have Alex with 40. Then going down to Luke, 39, Josh at 38. We have Paul Florzak at 35, Austin Lamb at 34, Steve, you're at 33, 32 for Mark, and then for you, Paul, you're at 31, and Vinny, poor Vinny with 28.
I think the most surprising thing right away, dude, when looking at this, is that Paul Florzak has a lot of wins. More than Austin.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I think Austin said, his worst stretch of time, I think, was like 2018, 2019. And that, I think, really hurts him because, like, I do think he had a lot of better seasons early on. And then the last, 2 years, he's also been very good. So Austin kind of, in a lot of these stats that I've put together, kind of looks a bit poor. And I think it's just because he had such awful seasons in 2018 and 19.
Yeah, and he was good 5 past, and it's crazy because there's just a few wins between so much jumping, because I'm sure, let's see here, I'm just curious because I know you picked the last 5 years, so so if it was 7 years, you went 3 and 10 and 6 and 7, so I wonder how that would mesh things up, just in general, right? So one season, because I know that I had a 3 and 10 season in the last five years, and it's crazy how much just those few wins of having that bad season just really changes things. Because so yours is 40, right? 40.
Yeah, I got 45 wins.
45. So 45 to 28 is a big difference, but there's jumps. I mean, it's all pretty level. Yeah.
Right. 13 regular season games per 13 regular season games per season.
Okay.
So yeah, if you have one bad year where I get 10 and you get 3, that's a huge difference when you are only going over 5 years. And I know everybody's saying, the last 5 years is all that matters. I kind of disagree. I think the whole history matters, but the last 5 years, 2018 was the first year that we did do the points per reception. So I think that is maybe a good cutoff spot, but regardless, it was the only data that I could pull anyway. So it's just going to have to be our stuff going forward.
Well, and I don't think that people are saying that last 5 years is the only thing that matters. I think all I was saying was the last 5 years matter.
You've been dominant
than the 5 before it, right? That makes sense, right?
Well, I think of it as a Michigan fan. So when we were really, really bad under Rich Rod, then the first little bit under Hoke, and then under Harbaugh, Michigan traditionally was one of the best teams in the country. But they were never thought of during that stretch. So I think it's a good snapshot of where have you been, where are you going, and then a good snapshot of right now what we're looking at the last 5 of how have you been as of recently. Because 5 years is a long time, but it's not that long of a time. So you get a nice little snapshot of, are you keeping up that consistency, or are you kind of very volatile? Because I'm the first one to admit I'm the most probably volatile team out there. A lot of high wins and a lot of no wins teams. So
yeah, we can get into that. So I know a lot of people are going to say I have 45 wins because nobody scores points against me because I'm just gifted by the fantasy gods. Thank you. But let's get into, so this is a chart of who has the highest score of a week. So every week, who has the highest score. So this is saying that Luke, out of all the weeks we've played, 15 times he's been the one that has had the highest score. and then you go to Al at 11, and Austin also at 11. So this kind of shows that Austin has at least had some very good years. And then you got me at 10. You go down Josh, Paul Florzak.
This is over 5 years.
Paul, yeah, this is the last 5 years.
Okay.
So Steve, you're kind of down in the middle, and then we have Vinny and Mark. So the one issue is this did not include last week. It includes everything up to week 6. So it did not include week 7 of this year. I got to import that data real quick, and I just got to run my code again.
No, I actually knew if like seeing this. I've said a few times that I don't have a lot of big weeks, and I think that's been a flaw of my drafting over the last like 4 or 5 years, where I've really focused on running back, and I think I need to sway because I like go running back. I'll draft the first 4 picks running back, you know, and I seriously think that's a detriment to having big boom weeks and having guaranteed wins, you know, and I think that's one of my flaws. Also, I just want to say, Dan, I'm the only one on this list with not a capital to start their name. Holy disrespect.
This is straight from ESPN. So this is how you put your name in as.
I disrespected myself years ago, I guess.
Yes. I cleaned up the data a bit, but I mean, I had to do a fair amount of data cleaning, but like all the stuff is straight from ESPN.
Oh no, lowest scores of the week. I'm excited for this.
So this also shows that Austin has just had. I think Austin just had 1 or 2 terrible years, and it's just really affecting his stats. And then the other crazy thing is Al.
Look at Luke. Luke has 15 times.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. Points for right here, dog.
But then, motherfuckers, look, I am the most consistent. I don't have low scoring weeks.
So let me say this, Dan. I don't think in the whole time of our arguments ever in the group chat of anything had anybody ever said that you were one of the worst players. I think we pretty much can agree. And if I had never said it before, I'm going to say it now. For now of all time, you are probably one of the best fantasy players in our whole fantasy. I
agree. I agree. He's good. He's had these years with incredible low points against. Like
true.
And not saying, obviously, you score well, you know, but, like, there are some... It's just happened, like, I think 2 years, maybe 3 years or something. But do you have a stat of points scored against or no?
For sure. Like, and, like, I can literally make a visual in, like, 2 seconds. But this is... Blue is points for, dark blue is points against for each manager over the past 5 years. So you've got... Obviously, Luke in the lead with points for with 11,000. And then a little less, 11,000 for Josh. And then me just under 11,000. And then you got Al, Vinny, Steve. You're a good 400 points back. Paul Florzak. Austin is pretty far back. And then Mark Sfranek and Paul Nicoline.
But do notice that people score a lot of points against me. So when my team sees that, we just quit. We quit.
Yeah, no, I think this was just because. What was that? Points against? You got. Jeez. So here, let me see if I can sort this by points against. Okay, so Josh actually has the most points against, and then you, Steve. And then Paul.
Yeah.
And then Mark, Austin, Luke, Paul Florzak, Al, and then
Dan?
Does anybody surprise anybody? Everybody knows my defense is phenomenal.
Not a good look for Vinny though.
No.
But yeah.
Well, but I mean, look, Vinny has a lot of points 4 as well. I was surprised that he's number 5. Mm-hmm. You know, we're all shitting on him, and you know, we saw he had the least amount of wins, and it's strange. He's got the 5th most points for, and what was it? It was only like the 8th most points against. So I think
Go
looking through a lot of this, yeah, the 9th most points against. So he doesn't have a lot of points against, and he's got a decent amount of points for. He should be winning more, but I think like looking through all of this, he's having a lot of like kind of just solid mediocre teams. He's getting that like 5-6 wins a season and nothing more, nothing less. You know, he's never having like those 10 wins a season, but he's also not having the like 2 wins a season that a lot of us also have.
Yeah.
So he's just very consistently mediocre, I think, is what. Any questions on this before I move to the next one?
No, all good.
No, I just find it very interesting. I have a question for the end, but no, that's very interesting.
Okay. Highest score that each team has done. So Luke has the highest score out of the entire league with 198.9, so close to 200.
Was that
And
last
then
year?
you
I think that was last year.
I was trying to throw on some years to see if I could figure it out, but I'd have to go. Well, I guess I have the Excel spreadsheet open as well, so
I swear Josh
real
scored
quick
over
tell you.
200 one game.
It might have been early.
It might have been 2017.
Okay.
Let me.
No, you're good. I maybe it's that far back. I just remember it. It might have been even against me. That's why I remember it.
I'm just shocked that I actually had a high scoring week.
Oh,
Okay, how much did he have again? 198.9. Let me see what week that was.
I'm gonna guess it was last year. I'm pretty sure it was last year because, yeah.
2021. Week 6, 2021.
Okay. So that's 2 years ago.
Yeah. So then moving on to the other players. Yeah, Steve, what?
Just so everybody can see it on the chat, could you go through real quick and just tell everybody their highest score?
Yeah, that's exact. Yeah, so then you got Josh next with 196.34
Wow.
for his highest score. Then Steve has 186.8. And then we have Paul Pickle with 183.02. Then we have me with 181.34. Paul Florzak with 177.9. Al with 175.82. Austin with 172.94. Vinny with 165.02, and then Mark's Frantic with 158.24. But he did beat that last week with the 160 point, which is just not reflected
new
here.
record for Mark. Let's get some claps in here.
Yeah, congrats. that's why I'm all in on Mark, baby. And then looking at the minimum score of every player, this one's interesting. So the lowest Paul Florzak's ever scored is 74, which is actually,
Wow.
I mean, like obviously that's a terrible score, but to be the lowest, it's not awful. And then 72 by Josh, Paul 70, but you just also broke that record with your 65 point week.
Yes.
And then we have me with 70, Luke with 61. We have Al with a 61, Mark Safranik with a 52, Vinny with a 49, Steve with a 48, and Austin somehow with a 25. Like he just must not have checked his.
Wow.
So I wonder if some of these are like, is it count consolation games?
No, because I know I had like a
filtered out.
20-point week in
Yeah, I
the
filtered out
consolation
the
game.
Lost at
consolation games.
25. That doesn't even seem real.
Let me pull up the week.
Also, me.
The crazy thing is, that's in the last 5 years, Steve.
48. I wonder when that was.
The crazy thing is, it didn't happen that long ago, all these scores, because of the last 5 years. That's crazy.
Maybe like week 12. I ran away from life.
Maybe.
There may be some flaw in my data because it's not pulling up.
Likely story here, huh?
Well, we can circle back to that. What else did you have for us, Dan?
Oh yeah, so much. Oh, Steve, I found your 48 point.
Okay.
It was in 2018, week 3.
I would love. I want to go back and check that. I'm curious what happened.
I can't find Austin's
Oh,
25
that was
point
my
game
3 and
though.
10 year, wasn't it? Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll move on. Let's see. So we went over points. So this was a little calculation I did where essentially I took every week and essentially made you play every single team that week, trying
Ooh,
to
okay.
eliminate kind of the variability, right, and the luck and all that. So if you were to play every single person every single week, this is how it shakes out. Josh Fry would have ended up with a record of 400. That'd be 400 wins. Luke would have 399 wins. I would have 397 wins. Vinny would have 375 wins.
Interesting.
This is blowing my mind because honestly, to me, this kind of it's similar to points 4, but I think it takes out some of I don't know the bias, and I really think this is a good metric to show like who actually is doing the best.
That is pretty cool, actually.
So I'm surprised Vinny is so high. That's why, looking at all these previous ones where it's showing Vinny is crap, I think Vinny's just had a weird go of fantasy because go ahead.
You know what would be really cool is this breakdown, but over the last 5 years. So this last year, what would be the records?
Right, well,
so we
let
can
me give you that.
obviously that can be some other time. But the stats
No, bro, I
can
can do it in 2 seconds.
The stats you can do with this is incredible. Like, holy crap.
Oops. So literally all I got to do is add in a slicer. All right, so we'll start with 2018. Try to make it bigger. I might put in the wrong year. Yep. Sorry about the wait.
You're good. I'm looking
Oh,
back
it's totally fine.
at the year I had that 48 points, and I clicked on it, and it's showing my lineup I had in 2018. It was Phillip Rivers, Dion Lewis, Tariq Cohen,
Oh,
jeez.
Tariq
Sony
Cohen.
Michelle.
Oh.
Dude, I had trash players. Holy crap.
That's awful. All right, so this is now filtered to 2018. You still have Josh winning, and then you actually have Paul Pickle in second, then Paul Florzak, then Vinny, Al, Luke, me, because I don't think I did very well in 2018. And then this was Austin's worst year, so
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And I was 3 and
Steve,
10
you're
that
kind of
year.
near the bottom.
I was 3 and 10 that year. It was a rough year.
2019, this I was just killing it in 2019. I don't even remember 2019.
Here, you do
But then
that. I'll
Steve,
look
you
and
were
see
right
what-
behind me.
Yeah. I think I'm going to, these next 4 years, I think I'm going to be up there, dude. Because the last 4 years I played.
Yeah,
really well.
so me at the top in 2019, at the bottom was both the Pauls, and then Vinny also pretty close to the bottom, and Austin not doing so great. Then moved to 2020. This was Paul's year. He won the championship, so he had a good team. I'm pretty far down. Steve, you're number 4 in 2020.
Mhm.
Vinny at 5. You got the other Paul right behind Pickle. Luke and Mark had a bad year that year. Josh is kind of in the middle. Austin coming back. He had those 2018, 2019 bad years, and then starts coming back in 2020. Moving to 2021, we have Al, which I think, Al won in 21, didn't he? So Al at the top, and then Luke right behind him, and then Steve, you're 3. So yeah, you've done pretty good the last 3-4 years. And then you got the Paul Florzak, and then Josh in the middle again. Josh seems to kind of land in the middle a bunch. Vinny on the other half, and then me and Austin kind of closer to the bottom, and another one with Paul Pickle at the bottom. So you're right, Paul. This is just showing that you are the most variable player. You're either at the top or the bottom. Not a lot in the middle.
Yeah.
No, I know I am. I'm either good or I'm either bad. And when I'm bad, I'm bad.
Wow, Vinny. In 2022, when I won, he technically, out of everybody, had 3-game better record than I. Wow, and this is just the regular season. Jeez. And then Austin's 3rd, Mark is 4th, which makes sense. He was in the championship.
Yeah.
And then Al did bad last year, and so did you, Pickle.
Oh,
and Steve, you're kind of just in the middle.
2023.
And then right now, we got Austin at the top. He is killing it. And then it's kind of as we would expect, Austin, and then Luke, then Josh, then me, then Mark. This is what's telling me that Mark's got it, guys. I'm telling you.
Still very early.
Still taking the under.
Still very early.
Still taking the under.
And you got, Paul Florzak at the very bottom, and then Steve, and then Pickle.
Been that kind of year.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, and then I've got some fun ones. So, since I have the draft data, I went ahead and made this little chart to show what NFL teams people like drafting from. So, if let's see.
That one is crazy.
So, if we just look at the entire league, apparently we really like drafting from Green Bay, Indianapolis, Minnesota, and Cincinnati. And then there's also this might be, sorry, let me remember what I put in this.
No love for Tampa Bay.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense. Because I had built this more filtering on people, so, okay, this makes more sense.
Okay.
So, Al loves Baltimore, Dallas, and San Francisco the most. He's constantly drafting those players, and you can actually look. He's gotten Mark Andrews twice, gotten Justin Tucker, Alex Collins. And so you can actually look at the players that he's drafted.
Josh,
but
I don't know if this has all of Josh's Dallas years. I hope it does.
So, Josh.
Dallas
right there. 8 players from Dallas over the last 5 years has been drafted from Josh.
There it is.
So he's getting Michael Gallup twice, Ezekiel Elliott twice, Dak Prescott twice, CeeDee Lamb once, and Allen Hurns.
We already know.
But yeah, so Josh is in love with Dallas.
Paul's the Cardinals.
Oh,
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I loved when I.
Oh my God.
Go.
Why, Paul? They do not have superstars.
Kyler Murray is a superstar in my heart.
Paul, we found your drafting issue. It can be easily fixed. You just take that bar out and you never go back to it.
Yeah, for real. And then Philadelphia, I don't even know.
Why do I feel like Mark is going to be like Pittsburgh?
Ooh, that's a...
Bam!
Dude,
I'm a dog.
how did you know that?
Over the last 5 years, the players he's kind of liked have been Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Mark is at 6 Pittsburgh players drafted over the last 5 years. Jeez. And let's see, Austin. Austin is also a Dallas guy. So it seems like, honestly, the people that do pretty good in this league seem to like Dallas. Which sucks because I hate Dallas.
I feel like Paul's Carolina or something weird like that. Baltimore.
Paul Florzak is Baltimore, Cincinnati, and the Chargers all tied with 5 each.
Okay.
Let's
Detroit.
see. For me,
Detroit.
so I got actually the Los Angeles Rams at 7 and then Detroit at 6. So yeah, but I mean, guess who? I've drafted Matthew Stafford on the LA Rams twice.
So it would be Detroit.
And then
It's really Detroit.
yeah, basically. Let's see. We did Fry. Let's do Lukey. He is a 3-way tie between New England, Philadelphia, and Baltimore, and each with 5 players on those. Let's see. We did Mark. Oh, Steve. Let's see what you got.
Actually.
You're Green Bay. Oh man, are you still secretly a fan?
Well, I mean, they only ran the division for like 5 years or whatever.
Oh, you got Aaron Rodgers twice, Geronimo Allison, Randall Cobb, and Romeo Dobbs. Interesting.
Dobbs is dropped. Right
But you also get Tennessee, so you're getting Henry twice.
Henry. Oh, Deion Lewis.
It's two Henrys and then 2 Deion
Who is
Lewis.
Deion Lewis? I totally forgot about that guy.
There's a reason you don't know about his name. He's trash.
And then last one is Vinny is actually a tie between Denver and Cleveland. So he's getting Kareem Hunt from Cleveland twice. And then he's also got Baker Mayfield, Browns D, and David Njoku and Jarvis Landry. And then from Denver, he's getting Javonte Williams, Cortland Sutton, Broncos D, and Philip Lindsay. So yeah, I thought that was just a fun, like, who do we like to draft?
You know what's funny is if, Vinny's struggled a lot, like over the last, I would say, like, not necessarily struggled, but he's had some issues not being able to get it done. Look at those Denver players. They're all busts. They're all busts.
Yeah.
All of them. Cortland Sutton, I don't think he's had a good year since Vinny's been on him. Javonte Williams started off good, got injured. This year, crap. Like, and there was another player in there. Philip Lindsay. I don't think he was good. So I think he's got to stay away from Denver.
Yeah, seems like it. And then kind of sticking with the draft theme, this one is actually a breakdown of what position the entire league likes to draft. So because it's the x-axis is strings, it's not actually in order, but this is round 1, and then you got round 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm most curious about is round 1. What do we like to draft the most? Running backs. 72 running backs in the last 5 years in the first round. 3 tight ends, which I'm assuming is Kelsey.
Yeah.
And then 32 wide receivers. And then apparently 3 QBs. So that's kind of the breakdown. Yeah.
Can you click Luke? Because I bet you he's half the receivers.
Yeah, so I was actually looking at me. Oops, sorry.
Have I ever drafted anything other than a running back?
4 running backs, 1 wide receiver.
Okay.
I don't think so, because I was actually looking at this slide a lot. Yeah, so just for the first round, Paul, you've always been running back. Steve, I'm pretty sure you're always running backs.
Biggest flaw.
Or you've gotten wide receiver once. And then if you look at my team, 3 wide receivers to 3 running backs. Oh, so I guess this is 6 years because it includes this year.
Dan, it might be literally 3 Cooper Cups.
Let me see if I can get that.
Because you've had some very successful Cup years. Who would else be? Who would be the other?
Well, I know I got Adams this year. I definitely got Cup one year, and we'll find out in a second. Yeah.
Oh, then it's 2 Cups. You've definitely had Cup twice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I've got Cup. I'm gonna have to figure out how to drill down into this. Let me see if I can add player. Nope. Okay. Well, I'll have to play around with that.
It's not super important.
Oops. I think I just broke something. Sorry, my computer's going slow.
15. So it's like all defense or something like that, probably, right? That's why it's so high.
Round 15, there was like 2 years where we had like round 16 and 17, and the way I made it, those just kind of got looped into round 15. Let's see. So we looked at me and you guys. Let's look at some other people, how they like to draft in the first round. So Vinny, he's gotten 2 wide receivers, 4 RBs. We looked at Luke. Josh, he's gotten 1 wide receiver, 5 RBs.
What does Alex do? I'm curious
Paul
because he's another
Florzak.
one that's been good. Oh, wow.
Paul Florzak is 3 wide receivers to 2 running backs. So somehow we lost a year for him. I'll figure that out.
No, if it's pulling in from last 5 years on ESPN, wouldn't it pull his team in and not Johnny's team? Because I believe they changed ownership.
No, I was
So
talking about
this year's,
Paul
right?
Florzak.
Oh, Florzak. Oh, I don't know why it would do that. Never mind.
Yeah. No, and he seems to be the only one that we don't have 6 data points for. Austin 6 RBs, and then Al is 3 wide receivers and 3 RBs. So it seems like me and Al and Paul Floor have had the most wide receivers. I'd say me and Al do pretty good. Paul Florzak is kind of up and down. But yeah, I would say wide receivers are the way to go, man.
They are, and if you look, last 5 years, me, Paul, and Austin have championships, and we have drafted all running backs. And the first one, actually, Paul got a receiver.
Yeah.
So, I've been saying it. I've coming to believe. I'm just doing this so everybody drafts receivers, so I can just get good running backs. I'm still going running backs every year.
And this gets into this little thing. So hopefully you guys can see this one, because this is one of my favorite ones. So this is looking at the entire. So this is the current year, because it's fun looking at previous stats, but I think the best is to look at right here, right now, because this is what matters. So right here, I have all of us in each different position category and just kind of have it laid out. So for wide receivers here, you can see the person who's getting the most points out of their wide receivers is none other than Luke, and that makes sense. And he is just dominating in that category. But then second, you have Paul Florzak, which makes sense because he also has crazy wide receivers. But other than that, like, we're all pretty even with our wide receiver output.
Yeah.
Our tight end output, obviously much lower than either the RBs or the wide receivers. That's also because these take into account both position spots for wide receivers and running backs. Whereas tight end obviously we only have one. But obviously Mark is in the lead since he has Kelsey, and then I'm right behind him. And then behind that is Josh. But then it's a pretty steep drop off, like in the tight end area. And then you move over to running backs. You've got Austin with the best running back points for so far. And then right behind him, you've got Vinny, actually. And then Steve, you're actually getting lots of points from your running backs. And then it kind of just evens off the people that are not doing well in the running back category. Shocker is Paul Florzak and Mark Safranek. That's the one.
Which is funny.
I'm trying to think of Mark's.
Is bad in the running back, but look at his receivers. He's not. He's like maybe middle of the pack or below at receivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, he's middle of the pack.
Well, he's obviously leading in tight end, but
yeah. QB. Let's see. Looks like the best is Austin.
I'm definitely
because doesn't Austin have Pat? Or no, Austin has Josh Allen. And then I think it goes to Mark Safranek, and then to me, and then it kind of
This week
just
hasn't
levels
updated it
off.
yet?
But
Right?
yeah, it's not updated with week 7, so this is only to week 6.
Well, I'm 0
So this,
after week 7, that's for sure. On quarterback.
so this takes into effect
And kicker
even
doesn't really matter.
the players that we've traded. So like, even though a running back on my team may have been traded to another team,
No,
it's just
so this is actually only taking into account the players that we start each week.
okay.
So
Oh,
this
that's
is just your
awesome.
active roster. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And I can play around with putting in tooltips so you can see like a breakdown of who's actually getting you those points.
Oh, that's awesome right there.
And then I'm kind of just at this point just messing around with a couple of different things.
So my question for you, Dan, is how much do we have to pay you for you to make this an app that we can access on any given time, so we can prove any bullshit argument that we want to?
So Power BI does have the function to make it into a dashboard, which is kind of my end goal. I don't know how easily I can share that with everybody, but I can work on it for sure.
Because all of this stuff is so awesome. Like, I feel like you've just scratched the surface, and we've been talking about this for almost an hour.
But
it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just messing around with it now. Like, all my time was spent actually getting the data and cleaning it in Excel. And then putting together these things takes no time at all. And I'm really just scratching the surface. Like, I do this a lot at work, and I know I can get like so much more out of this data. Because one of the things that's cool is like putting multiple graphs on the same sheet, and then you can like click on one and it filters. Yeah, give it a second. It filters the other graphics on your sheet.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, so if I click on this, looking at QBs. So yeah, I'm just playing around with this. I'll probably get lots more data and random stuff. But yeah, that's what I got.
Wow. I mean, that's sick. Well, it's kind of mind-blowing. I didn't realize you get this deep in the stats. Like, I just thought ESPN was a system that you could actually get into like that.
Well, yeah, actually getting the code to work to pull all the data really sucked, but
well, we appreciate this. This is awesome. So,
I mean, with these stats coming out, I wonder. I mean, I feel like it kind of equally like this was kind of good because it kind of equally leveled. Like, oh yeah, this guy's pretty bad at it. This guy's pretty bad. Had bad year here, bad here. You know, but there was not really like a clear defined loser. I feel like maybe some of Paul's bad years were really bad, but
they were really bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, every player up and down, even Vinny gains back some credibility. I feel like.
Some of the stats in the past from Paul and stuff, where we were looking at different angles of things, it's pretty clear that Vinny was the worst player.
Yeah.
But then when we look at the whole picture, I think it's kind of cool. You could argue maybe he's still the worst.
It's year to year, man. You know, it's so different. The other thing is, like, literally, if you have an idea for a stat, just let me know, and I can see how easily I can put it together because I have all the data now.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Dan, for sharing that.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything else, we'll move forward. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we'll just quickly go through next week, or not next week, but this coming week's big week. I think I have it all pulled up here. Yep. All right. We will go ahead and start with Mark. I keep getting messed up with the names. Mark and Josh. Mark needs to win this to keep up his reputation that he's coming back.
Yeah.
What do you think? We'll start with you, Steve.
I would really love a win this week. I don't know. He needs a lot to happen here. I mean, Drake London, Jordan Pickens, we'll see. I mean, Drake London has been playing well lately.
Yeah.
But as we said, well, we'll see about the running backs. I feel like it's lost or won with Josh's running backs, depending on what Josh
I agree. I 100% agree. How about you, Dan?
3 of them, and they're all. I mean, Pollard might have to go. Has Pollard? Can you look at Pollard's stats really quick?
Yeah.
What is it? What is he even ranked? Okay, so he's the 13th.
13th.
What is he scoring? 17, 8, 9, 15, 19. Okay. So I'm curious how he continues. But
Yeah, because as he goes through, he has some tough matchups. He makes the playoffs. He has Buffalo coming up. He has the Rams. He has Philly again, Seattle. We'll be interested to see if he can actually be something moving forward. But you think who's going to win this game, Mark?
I would take Mark.
Okay, Mark. How about you, Dan?
Oh, I want to take Mark. I don't know. I don't love Josh Allen versus Tampa Bay. Honestly don't like Kelsey versus Denver because I think they'll win that too easy and aren't going to need to throw to him a bunch.
I can see that.
I think it might be Josh might be winning this one, even though I kind of wish Mark would.
I tend to agree with you. I think Josh myself too.
I'm taking Mark hopefully because I really need some of those top dogs to start losing.
All right, I'd love to see it. All right, Paul Florzak versus you, Dan. I'll let you start with this here. How's your feeling? I'm assuming you think you're going to win, but how is it going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he's projected to even reach 100. Like, his team is bad, and this is the exact get-right week that we need. I think my running backs are going to roll. I think combined, my 3 running backs are going to get over 80 points.
My only question for you, do you have the balls to play J-Mo?
It's interesting because there's also Terry in that equation. So it's hard, man, because Pittman, Terry, J-Mo, I could see myself starting any of them. And I really don't know. That's going to be like a game time decision. My big question is, do I start Kenneth Walker over Austin Eckler, or do I give Eckler another shot?
I would because I want Dan to lose. So
Dan is following the golden rule: no players start against Cleveland.
That was the worst rule. Both the players on my team scored over 20 points last week against Cleveland.
Yeah, but it's fluke.
And this is why Steve is ranked number 10 in the power rankings.
Okay, that is one thing I did want to bring up. I feel like Steve comes up with so many like confident takes on the NFL like fantasy seasons. And I feel like we all kind of just believe him because he does know his football and he's so confident when he makes these takes. But I think they all end up being bad takes and we just don't realize it. And I think that is why Steve really is not that great at fantasy, even though he really does have a lot of football knowledge. I think sometimes he like overanalyzes or just has this take that he wants to be right, so he goes with it, and it ends up just like shitting on him.
I don't know what all that is. I'm just saying what I truly feel. Even if it's wrong, it's wrong. But I'm telling you, the Cleveland thing is actually like the game got messy because the quarterback got injured, and they can't. You know punts happen in that game? Go look at the punts. Like, yeah, the defense is going to fall apart. But I'm sure I've had some bad takes. I'd like to go back on pods now. Now you're going to make me go back and look at tapes and see how they played out. Because the fact you said they're all wrong is ridiculous. Okay,
I don't know if they're all wrong, but I'm beginning to think they might be.
Well, I didn't realize people were taking them as truth. I'm just, turns out I'm on this pod every week trying to, say my opinion.
Hey man, you got a big platform. You got to take that seriously.
Okay, well, we'll have to see how off I am on my takes. Now I'm curious.
Yeah,
but obviously,
it'll be interesting.
Pretty off. This year's been terrible for me.
But to be a trendsetter, you have to start somewhere. So I commend you for that. So, who do you think Dad's going to win this week, Steve?
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty much foregone conclusion.
I mean,
yeah,
barring a miracle.
Good luck next time.
This is 83 to 106 win.
Yeah.
It's written all over it.
All right.
And you, Steve,
one might
for sure fact.
one might argue the 1 and 2 are playing each other here. We would say it's the 1 and 3 playing each other. Who do you think wins this, Dan?
Whew, this is a good one. I haven't really let's see the matchups. I mean, Luke's team, I think this is the first time he's got Chase, Brown, and Hill all in the starting lineup. Ooh, Hill's against New England, though. That might be an actual rough one.
And he might be
Chase
dead.
is against San Francisco. Ooh. Man, and Mahomes is against Denver, and Denver, they might just put Mahomes on the bench by halftime. I might
See something
go
cool.
I might go Austin.
Look at Tyreek's stats. Look at the one down game he had.
Who was it against? New England?
They held him.
And he's injured this week.
I'm gonna go with Austin.
Yeah, 10 points.
I think the real winner for Austin here is he's starting Ramondre.
Wow.
I think that's gonna win him the game.
See, I think it is in spite of Ramondre. I think Austin's going to win, but I think Ramondre is not going to do very well. I think he's going to win purely on Stephon Diggs and Travis Etienne. I think Travis Etienne is about to have a big week.
Can you click on the Browns team?
Yeah.
Okay. They're playing Seattle.
The 7th position. Yeah, Seattle. Do you want me to go back to that?
I'm taking Luke. I feel like I'm taking Luke.
Okay. I'm taking Dan and Austin in this one. All right. We have Vinny versus Alex here. I'll start out with this one. We saw Lamar do amazing. I don't have any reason why he's not going to keep doing well. We've said it before. He had a pretty good team, middle of the road against Vince. I think it becomes down to the Jahmyr Gibbs and Christian McCaffrey give him the points that he needs, because I think that's really where all the points are going to come from. I don't see many other players showing up big for him.
Yeah, I don't. I actually hate. I don't know. I take Alex's or Johnny's team 100% here. Vinny's team. I look at Garrett Wilson, Christian Kirk, Cole Kmet, T. Higgins. Like, 2 of those guys are not doing shit. Like, there's no way they all do well. There is a chance, but I mean, Cole Kmet, dude, has that guy ever scored points?
Yeah. So we know Vinny's adjusted his lineup. Do you agree with going Trevor Lawrence over Joe Burrow?
San Fran? Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Dan, thoughts on this game?
I agree 100% with Steve. I mean, I think this is Al and Johnny's game to win.
Also, I know why Cole Kmet's starting. He's a golden domer.
Yes, gotta have that gold domer for him.
Classic.
Anything else to this matchup? I think it's pretty straightforward. I think Alex wins, and I don't think it's very close.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
Yeah,
Then,
I mean, from Vinny's wide receiver 1 down to his tight end, he just doesn't have skilled players.
No. Then we go to what some people might call the toilet bowl. Others might call a chance of redemption, and what I'm going to call it the bye week. I think we're going to win pretty easily here. I'm looking at my opponent here. I see nothing scary other than Kamara. And you know what? I have 2 of those running backs that are going to be better than Kamara this week anyways. So I think we win a cool 150-97. Steve?
I don't know what to do with DK. I'll probably just start him anyways.
I think you definitely should start him.
I think I'm going to roll you regardless, but that's nothing special. I mean, Adam Thielen gets 30 points. It might be close, but Adam Thielen gets 10 points. It's over. I got to score 90, I think, in this one.
Very bold. Very bold. And I will love to pull up this audio clip next week when I get more than that. So Tyler Bass starting out strong for you. I just noticed that right now. 4 points.
Point for Tyler.
Yeah. Any thoughts on
Steve's winning this one for sure. For Cleveland, for Amari Cooper, is Deshaun Watson gonna play again?
No.
Or no, he's out for a while?
He's out.
Okay. Maybe you should start Pitts in your flex and move Nico to take out DK, because I do not like DK.
Yeah, I gotta really think about it.
I do actually have a legitimate question for you, Steve. Nico Collins over Deontay Foreman?
100%.
Why that?
You got to ride the QB receiver duo.
Really buying into that. Okay. All right.
Literally just that.
Well, I think that was all the game this week. Good luck to everybody in your matchups. Steve, Dan, do you guys have anything else before we close?
No, just thanks for having me, guys. This has been great.
Yeah.
I think whoever loses this game between me and Paul should be last 100% the power rankings next week.
100%. I will agree to that right now, man to man.
Okay.
Check on it.
So I'll love to see you at 10. But yeah, we're going to have to clean up this, end this call because it's about to end itself. But
one last really quick question, Steve. Last time we did a bet, did or did you not change your name to Pickle Jr.?
Dude, you want to put money on this
Okay.
game? I will put some serious money on this game right now.
No, you just got to be
More
Pickle
points,
Jr.
it's
again
over.
if you lose.
Well, I like that.
Wait, what'd you say, Dan?
If you lose again, you just got to go back to Pickle Jr. I think we all want it.
No, okay, yeah, let's actually do this. I want to do this. Loser has to change a name, but I'm gonna make one for you. Jeez, what would I make this? What would I make? Dan, help
All
me.
right, how about this, Steve? Loser has to change their name and profile picture for 1 week.
Okay, I already know what mine is.
All right. I don't need to hear it because it's never going to happen. So
just want to let you know what you're playing for, real quick. Definitely gonna be an Ohio State Buckeye. Probably
Okay.
use the logo, just right up there.
okay.
And I don't know. Do I continue with the Ohio State theme just to dig it in? Because I know you'd hate that, especially since you're wearing all Michigan today. It just feels fitting.
Well, it was also a slight dig to your nemesis, Josh, because the biggest takeaway from that game had nothing to do with the football game between Michigan and Michigan State. So,
Well, I mean, when you have nothing to hang your hat on, you have to go with that. So,
yeah.
But
At least my school doesn't put pictures of Hitler on the scoreboard.
before we end this, I will say the sign stealing thing, the NCAA
Garbage.
pisses me off because it's like, why is it such an archaic system? Like, just have something where someone can't just go to a game and be like, all right, we know there's signs because I went to the stadium they play in. Like,
Yeah.
use a freaking mic or like, how is that still happening? It's like a multi-billion dollar into like sports division, and like they're using signs and complaining when people go to a stadium and read them. Like, you probably shouldn't be doing that, but like it's there. It's gonna happen. It does happen everywhere, and it's because they keep. It's like when you go to a government website, you know, like let's say you're creating a bit, like you go to Michigan.gov, they trillions and trillions of dollars go, and it's the shittiest website ever. It's like, why? Just put a little money. Just have it work. Like,
It takes a while to update websites because all those websites are super secure for the most part. So it's a lot of archaic, secure stuff. But yeah.
But all right, boys. Well, anybody got any last sayings before we go out here?
No, I think I'll just look back to what I said several weeks ago. Steve, that was the highest you'll ever be, and I hope you enjoyed that because it's all downhill from here.
Well, big week for the Lions. Monday night, big game. Let's just blow the shit out of this team. Also, I kind of love having a player. I have Devontae going Monday. I kind of love having a player going Monday because you know what you have to get. You know, like it's like a security blanket of knowing, okay, I have a chance if he gets 80. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100. I like that a lot better than having to play against somebody who has people on Monday night.
Yeah, but all right. Peace out. We'll catch you boys next week. We'll figure out who goes on, and we'll see the results. Big week. Bunch of the 3 and 4s. Can they separate? Who falls from the top? But all right.
Yes.
Take it easy.
Adios. Thanks again, man.
All right, see you guys.
Peace.